Carnival of Kayfabe with 6 Digit. I have my guest Christopher here. He is the owner of RPW, Ruthless Pro Wrestling.
How's it going, guys?
I have no idea what the hell I'm doing, but we're going to do it.
We're going to do it up big, bro.
We're going to do it real fucking big.
We're going to make this thing delicious.
We're mainly here just to talk
Succulent.
about... We're here to talk about wrestling. Wrestling, damn it. It's still real to me, damn it.
Hey, man, you know, they say wrestling is fake, but I sure as shit don't. I mean, you know, as somebody that works in the business, yeah, it's predetermined. It ain't fake.
Yeah.
I've seen some people get seriously hurt doing this shit.
Let me tell you, as a guy who did one wrestling move one time, I seriously hurt myself. Yes.
Let me guess, you came down your tailbone, right?
Oh, bad. And really, the tailbone stung at first, but that wasn't where the damage was. I had this wicked bruise that was like started in my back and went down to my leg.
Kid, you got to eat a sandwich or two. You ain't got no butt cheeks to be bumping off that.
That's what it was. There's nothing to land on.
You got to have that padding in the back, otherwise you got nothing to absorb that shit.
That's what it was too. And what was crazy too is I knew that I was going to be doing a spot, but we talked about the spot I was going to be doing leading up to that, and it was supposed to be I was going to get in the ring, talk some shit about the wrestlers, and then Ethan was supposed to get in the ring and say something back to me, and then I was going to hit him with a clothesline. And that's what we discussed, and I'm like, all right, easy enough, no problem, you know, I can do that without practice. It shouldn't be a problem to hit him with a clothesline. Then we're literally walking to the ring, and the promoter turns to me and goes, all right, so I changed it. This is what we're doing. And I'm like, oh, fuck.
That's more common than you think.
Yeah, that's what I've heard. That's kind of how it goes.
I mean, you were there for my first bump.
Yeah.
I left a bloody mess.
Yeah, I was scared for you.
I was fine. I still got a little scar from that.
Yeah. Yeah, it was pretty wicked, man. But I on the way to the ring, he said he was changing it, and he did. And in my mind, I'm thinking, all right, a Stone Cold Stunner, how hard could that be? I've seen it a million times on television. I'm just gonna fucking kick him, grab his head, and just, you know what I mean? Like, in my mind, I played it perfectly. Sure, no problem. I got in the ring, and another thing too is I got embarrassed before I even got into the ring because
then you're done.
Oh, yeah. It's
all about confidence.
Oh, for sure. And, as soon as I jump up on the apron, we had not practiced. We had not gone over anything until this point that I'm, you know, in front of a crowd walking up to the ring. I hadn't even touched a wrestling ring. So I walk out and I jump up and I step in the ring, and right away all the wrestlers are like, and I'm like, why is everyone scoffing at me? Well, come to find out, I'm supposed to wipe my fucking feet before I get in the ring. And that was like a big no-no, I found out.
How surprised were you when you found out how stiff those things are?
Very. I mean, I had a feeling because, obviously when you're a kid, you always hear like, people love to downplay it, like they're just getting slammed on a mat or a mattress.
Padding under there.
There's a padding, And I remember it wasn't even when I got slammed on it. When I first realized this, I was at a JCW event, and I was there early because we were performing or something, and I'm watching the wrestlers bring the ring in off the truck and put it together, and I'm like waiting for that step where they put the padding, and
you're just seeing a lot of wood and a lot of steel.
Yeah, steel, wood, and that's about it. And there's a canvas, but I wouldn't compare it to a fucking gym mat. A gym mat has some comfort and some cushion to it. The mat is just, I mean, you feel the fucking wood. That's all I felt when I hit it. It was like getting slammed on somebody's front porch. Yeah,
everyone thinks it's going to be like coming down, like on a cushion or something.
Or a trampoline. They think it's got all this give.
It's really not. You have to condition your body to take that, you know, like you got to, through repetition, get your body ready to absorb that kind of shock. And, the stunner, where you screwed yourself up is, you got to remember, your spine's coming straight down at itself, and it's like a stack of dimes. It's like a stack of dimes, as Stone Cold always says, and that shit can pax.
And I really think I might have done some long-term damage to my back from just that one single Stone Cold Stunner.
I wouldn't doubt it. I mean, even some of the simplest of moves are the ones that'll screw you up the most. I've seen people... they're doing Canadian destroyers, and they're doing slingshots, and all kinds of shit, and then they break their foot doing like a takedown, like something so simple. Yeah, and it's always the simple ones that end up screwing people up. But also some of the moves that look like they'd be the most painful are not, and some of the ones that look like they aren't are.
Yeah, I could see that absolutely. I know one thing's for sure though. I'm not a wrestler, and I never.
Neither am I. I'm a promoter.
Right. And I've had a lot of people like offer, like, oh, you come, like, because I'm so into it that people have always wanted to get me into it. But I first want to tell you, like, no, it ain't. I don't like getting hurt. I like to watch y'all get hurt, but I'm not. I don't like it myself.
Well, the adrenaline, you don't get hurt until the adrenaline wears off.
Right.
You probably didn't have that going just doing the one move.
No, I was all nerves. Just, I'm in front of a crowd. I never touched a ring, and here I am. I'm supposed to like do a wrestling move and make it look good.
But you should be used to being in front of a crowd. You're a musician.
Yeah, but it's different, and I hear that
true.
a lot too. Like people be like, because I'm so quiet, like in normal life, it's probably a surprise to most people that I have a podcast here now because I'm not really like talkative, but it's because like I don't know. It's hard to explain. I guess because I'm putting on a character, so I'm going on stage. I know people want to see 6-digit. You know what I'm saying? So it's easy to like step into that and do that. When I'm stepping into a wrestling ring, these people don't have any idea who I am. They don't have any expectation, and I'm just in my head like I'm just Bob, the wrestling fan. But that's another thing that's weird too, though, is because like all the years I've done hip hop, I've met everybody. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like all the big star shit. I don't get like that starstruck. Mm-hmm. I'm always fine or whatever. I meet wrestlers, I'm like, well, because I turned into like a 10-year-old kid, that's like, those were my idols. So when I meet wrestlers, that to me, that I fanboy, like that's what's big to me. They really are larger than life.
Well, what you end up finding out, especially dealing with these people, is you get a lot farther just treating them like normal people.
Right.
They're so used to people fanboying out that, think about how many times you've got off stage and, you're not the same person you are on stage. Right. When I sang, I was a completely different person on stage. I was a friggin' maniac.
Right.
But I don't take compliments well.
Yeah.
I don't know how to properly respond without being awkward.
Yeah.
So
I think I'm kind of the same way, and people have often taken that wrong, and people think like they think like I have an ego or something, and it's actually quite the opposite. It's not that I'm being like big headed; it's that I'm awkward in the situation. I don't know how to take the compliments.
It's like, bro, I know you just saw me on stage, but I am riddled with anxiety right now, and I want to make you happy, but I also need to get a beer in me and get the fuck out of this place.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely.
I'm not trying to be rude, but this shit is. What you see on, like, it's really strange when you're a performer, because, I sang death metal for, like, 10 years.
Yeah.
And, even going up to shows, I don't know if you're the same way, but, like, before I would always, no matter how many times I did it, I'd always be a bundle of nerves.
Yeah.
The second the first note hits, it's like a switch. Yeah. It's flipped, and you're a completely fucking different person.
You just go into that.
It doesn't bother you anymore. You just go into performance mode. You're comfortable. You're doing your thing.
Yeah, and you kind of just zone out and you just channel into something else. And then when it's over, it's just like...
Yeah, it's almost like an adrenaline crash.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
But yeah, I'd get off stage and people, oh, that was great. It's like, thanks. I don't know what the fuck else to say.
That reminds me too, what I was saying is like, not to change the subject, I'm kind of going back to the subject we were on to begin with, is like, taking bumps and stuff, and people don't really realize. I've seen a lot of people were talking shit about the bump that Snoop Dogg took on AEW.
I'd like to see them try it.
Yeah, and I was blown away by it. Like, yeah, it looked sloppy, and but I mean, what the hell do you expect? He's a 50-year-old rapper that's never wrestled at all,
with no meat on his bones.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, you could see he was dough-legged, trying to balance. You could tell. I think he was more worried about staying balanced on the rope than he was about the actual move, because it looked like he was like like a little lasagna or a little noodle knead.
Yeah, he was kind of second guessing it, but I mean, he made it happen, and
he was probably high as giraffe pussy too.
I'm sure. I mean, you have to be 50 years old, and someone says, "Yeah, jump off the top ropes." I've never done it before, but I'll do it on television.
I think Snoop's done some spots before, right? WWE.
He's done some spots, but they were always just like I was supposed to do, throwing out. I wonder if that's what happened to him. He probably showed up that day throw out a clothesline, and they're like, well, here's the thing.
Actually, we're going to have you go to the top rope and do a frog splash, but not from the corner. We want you to get out on the rope a little bit. And everyone thinks that those ropes are, super bouncy, and like if you've never been in a ring, everyone's always under the assumption you can just run into those things and they'll bounce around. Those things
grab them.
Hurt.
Just grab it once and you'll feel it, and you'll be like, it hurts just touching it. And you're like, I don't want to run into that.
Most of the time, those are steel cables.
Yeah.
With tape on the outside.
Yeah.
Think about that.
See, and I always wondered for years. That's another thing that I never knew. I'm like, is it just a rope? And like some of the
It used to be.
I was gonna say like you see the old school footage and they like the ropes sag like rope would, and I'm like, those are probably rope.
Well, that's why they got rid of them. You know, it was after a while of working them. You know, you'd have saggy ass ropes.
Yeah,
looking like fucking.
I've also seen what I believe to be garden hose covered in tape.
Yes. A lot of the cheaper ropes are steel wire going through a garden hose because they're using cheaper wire.
Okay.
So in order to soften the blow, they put a little fucking.
Got you. Okay, now that makes sense. I didn't know. I seen it.
A little
and I was
inside
like,
sports
I'm
for
sure
you.
That's garden hose, but I didn't know. Now I know.
Yeah, the ring we use doesn't have the garden hose or anything. It's just cables.
Yeah.
And then some rings have like a spring in the middle. Mm-hmm. Ours doesn't have that shit either.
Okay.
Ours is very stiff.
Yeah. And that's the difference with the spring. Just makes it a little more.
It impacts a little better and it makes more noise.
Okay.
You know.
See, when I was in the first time I got in a wrestling ring was in the JCW ring, and this was back in like 2003 or something. But I thought then that their ring felt kind of like bouncy. You know what I mean? I felt like when I stepped, like my steps were off time because the ring was moving a little bit. But I didn't. I've been in other rings where I didn't feel that. It was just very stiff.
Sometimes that's the boards too. You know, or older boards they'll sag a little more.
Yeah.
Newer ones will have a little more spring to them.
Okay.
So they could have just put new because I mean. I don't know. I mean, underneath the wrestling, it's just 2x4s. Yeah. It's a metal structure. It's all steel.
Yeah.
And then there's just 2x4s running across it, and then they put a little canvas over top.
Yeah.
And that's what it is.
So I'm telling you, if any of y'all watching or listening to this and you haven't seen the way a wrestling ring is put together, what it actually is, you probably have a very skewed idea of what it is. Because I did, and I'm a wrestling fan. I have been my whole life, and I thought that there was more to it. It's literally like you said, just fucking steel and boards and ropes. Like that's it. And if you get slammed on that shit, you're getting slammed on that shit. There's no pulling that punch. It's pretty brutal thing. And you would think after all these years, you know, like they would have done something else. Like we're gonna, you know. Pat, but no. No.
Hey,
you
if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Right. No, that's fucking great, man. But that's like I said, with the Snoop, for people to hate on Snoop Dogg doing that, they really just have no idea. Because I promise you, if you just step into a wrestling ring, just like even that has difficulty. Like even just going through the ropes and getting into the ring is weird and hard to do.
It's awkward.
Yeah,
it's awkward. If
I just recently I went up to the Skull and Bone School, and I had Trey did some drops for the show and stuff, and he said, "We'll go, climb up in the ring with me." So I'm okay. I go to climb up in the ring, and I pretty much embarrassed myself, man. Me climbing in the ring is like her climbing in the ring. Like I go under the second rope, and I thought about it before I did it, and I'm like, I could do, but like I'll probably embarrass myself worse if I try that and I fall or something. So I should just smoothly go under the second rope.
I just lay my fat ass down and roll under the bottom one, like a fucking slug. I let this girthquake fucking work for me. You know what I'm saying?
That's fucking great. I think that's what I'm gonna do next time. I'm just gonna.
It's easier,
properly roll.
I just kind of like get my ass up on it and lay back and roll.
See, that would
you look like a fucking idiot, but you'll look more like an idiot trying to maneuver through in the middle when you're not used to it,
or doing what I did and doing the Miss Elizabeth duck under the second rope.
You're gonna have to dig up this footage. I'm gonna have to see this.
Yeah.
I've only heard the alleged. I've heard the whispers in the class or the hallways, but I haven't seen the spot myself.
Yeah, I've embarrassed myself in front of wrestlers.
Well, shit, you watched me get in that fucking ring. It was awkward as shit.
I did, but I mean, it made sense, at least it made sense, and you pulled it off and it looked good. I hope mine did. I don't know. Ethan that helped me through it. Luckily, he sold my stunner and made me look like $1 million. And of course, I didn't look like I was hurting. I just got up and, did my thing. And as soon as I got out of the ring, I'm like, fucking. And then that was early in the day. And I had this was at a festival that I planned. So I had this whole day of bullshit to do after that and then perform that night.
Oh, God.
And the whole time I'm just like in pain.
Just roll out the lazy boy.
Yeah.
It's going to be a low energy show. We're going acoustic.
I'll tell you what, though, I had a newfound respect after that day because, like I said, I've been a wrestling fan my whole life, but that was my first time to actually get to do something, and I found out all about it that day.
It is a complex business, I'll tell you that. You know, there's so much more to it than what people, you know, just being a fan.
Right.
You know, everyone's, well, you just, you find the wrestlers you want, you get them to show up, and there's your show. It's like, oh, no, there's so much more to it.
Right.
There's so much more.
And I can imagine the politics and everything. I know from doing music, it's always been like a headache. And like I thought about putting on wrestling shows, you know, and I thought about putting it on, and then I think about it, and I'm like, well, I put on rap shows, and that's like 3 guys that I got to deal with, and it's such a headache. Now, if I put on a wrestling show, that's going to be like 30 guys I got to deal with. It just seems like a lot of work, man. So, I mean, props to you for doing what you do, because I know that's a lot of fucking, you know, just to put on one thing is a month of fucking planning. And
I will say that there's not an hour of my day that goes by where I don't talk to at least 3 wrestlers.
Yeah.
About something.
Yeah.
You know, this. Do I need to do this? Do I need a promo by this? You know, what time do I need to be here for this?
Right.
When do you plan on doing this? You know, like it's
such a love sport, man. Because you know what I'm saying. No matter how much money you do or don't make, it always takes that same amount of work. You know what I mean? So and you really have to love it to do it.
Well, the thing is if you want to take it seriously, like I'm trying to do, you can't just make your money and go. If you do well, you try to make it bigger.
Yeah.
And you try to grow it and grow it and grow it. And that's what I'm in the process doing. I mean, that's why we went from, you know, just doing shows over the summer to being on a streaming service, you know, and having a partnership. And,
absolutely.
You know, it's just growing. And now, you know, with we have studio tapings coming up now. Yeah. We're going to do a studio show.
I'm excited for that too, man. That's awesome. I like that. I like live's always great too, but I like studio things because I like the stuff WWE's doing in studio right now too. A lot of people are hating on it, but I like the theatrics or being able to like go back and do something later in a match. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, you know, it kind of adds that theater to it. You know, to where you're able to pretty much, it kind of takes down the limits because it's not just what you can do in the ring. It's anything you imagine you can put together in post.
It's just a different type of limits.
Yeah.
Like when you're planning your show, when you plan a live one, you plan on crowd reaction. What's this going to happen? What's this? And when you do a studio one, you got to remember there's going to be minimal audience there.
Yeah.
And it's going to be more what plays to the camera.
Right.
What translates well on television.
Yeah.
And luckily, you know, I mean, we got kind of put into this situation by force of necessity, by, you know, like by just wanting to stay alive because we can't run our normal shows right now. So, well, what do? We have a platform to show shows.
Yeah.
And we have a worldwide audience that show them too.
Right.
Well, let's just do shows in a different capacity until we can do our normal shows again.
Adapt.
But luckily, you know, things like WWE and Impact and Ring of Honor and all that have done months and months and months now of field testing and figuring out what works and what doesn't work. So I had the luxury of like sitting back and be like, okay, this is how we got to do it for it to sound right and look right.
Yeah, you can see what worked and what didn't ahead of time.
Because, I mean, you know, when WWE first started doing it and it first happened, it was awkward.
Oh, yeah. It was real awkward. Even WrestleMania was kind of like, and I think they know that because they're using the same, like, you know what I mean? The WrestleMania thing, they're using the same logos and, like, that they did. Like, they're kind of acting like last WrestleMania, almost like it didn't happen. And I don't blame them because it was really weird. It was like it was 2 days of like just awkward kind of matches. I was not a fan of how they did WrestleMania at all this year. But like I said, I seen they put out the promo for the upcoming WrestleMania, and again, it's going to be 2 days, and they're using like the pirate gimmick and everything that they did already. So I think they kind of feel the same way as a lot of other people did. Like, and that's not to say the wrestling wasn't good because it was.
Oh, it's great.
Great. For the matches were great, but it was just it was too early into this that they didn't know what they were doing yet. I feel like if they're putting together WrestleMania that way now, it'd probably be a lot better.
Yeah,
but
yeah, I mean, it's like I said, you know, it's honing the thing, you know, like it's figuring it out and what works. And, you know, what we're going to do is, because I hate, like, Ring of Honor has no crowd noise at all.
Yeah.
And that bugs the shit out of me.
Yeah,
I think it's awkward.
It is bothersome.
And I'm not trashing Ring of Honor's product. They have great wrestling and stuff. I don't like, it's hard to get into it when it's just silence.
It's like watching golf.
So, you know, we're gonna have, you know, all along the wall, There's going to be all the people that worked on the show and the other workers and stuff. They're going to be watching, cheering along, making noise. There's at least a nice crowd noise and and that. And we got, the card.
Which I think AEW has done. They have people from the back come out so that there's at least some, and that adds to it. I think
you'll always see Billy Gunn sitting out there. And
you just hear him cheering and stuff, and it just adds to it. It's wrestling is it's a live sport. It always has been. So when you take the audience away, it's kind of just like watching practice, which is
it's like stand up comedy. If you listen to a routine with an audience and everyone's laughing, you're laughing and it's funny. But if you heard that exact same routine and you took all that crowd noise out, it'd be different. It'd be weird.
You almost don't even know where the joke's at sometimes. Because there's episodes of Big Bang Theory that I've watched online with no laugh track.
I'm not smart enough for that shit.
I'm not either. I hate it. But that's why someone sent it to me. They're like, watch this with no laugh track. And I'm like, yeah, I absolutely have no idea where the jokes are.
It's like
no idea. But we're going to take a break real quick because of technology.
Technologically.
We'll fix our things, and we will be right back shortly on Carnival of Kayfabe.
Go ahead.
Brought to you by One Source Total Property Solutions, your one-stop shop for anything you could possibly need for your home. Yeah, dig it.
And we're back with Carnival of Kayfabe. I'm 6 Digit. This is my guest, Chris.
How you doing?
And we are talking about RPW and all things wrestling.
RPW stands for Ruthless Pro Wrestling, by the way.
Ruthless Pro Wrestling. Where can we find you on the web? Tell them where.
We got the Facebooks, we got the Twitter, we got the Instagram, but you can also find our shows on IWTV.
IWTV.
The studio show we were just discussing will be uploaded there. We got ourselves a stat card. We got some guys from Impact coming in. We got some big names on this thing.
And Carnival of Kayfabe is sponsoring the main event. So, well, that's a thing too. So we'll definitely be covering that event. I'll be there. We'll be talking about it, whatever the case may be. And you can subscribe on IWTV and catch all of RPW stuff. All their events and all their shows.
Actually, if you guys just want to check it out, you can use the promo code Ruthless for a free week.
Boom.
But anyone on the independent wrestling circuit, any promotion that's worth watching is on there. So it's not just us.
Yeah.
You can watch your GCWs, you can watch your Black Label Pros.
You watch it all, man. It's
AIW.
Infinitely worth it. Infinitely worth it. If you're a fan of wrestling, it's infinitely worth it. I've been watching lately. I've been stuck on WWE Network watching. They uploaded Saturday Morning Superstars.
Yeah,
I've been going back and watching. Oh man, talking about taking me back to my childhood, like these 1993 Nails and the Big Boss Man story.
Nails,
and you know it never hit. I was like 2 days ago. I'm watching it, and that was the first time in my whole life that I ever realized that was not his real voice.
Are you serious?
I haven't heard the man talk since I was like 7, so I just thought he was this scary criminal, and then I watched.
You were supposed to.
Yeah. So it worked. It worked. Whoever was in charge of that, it fucking worked, man.
That just means Nails did his job. Well, not too good from what I fucking heard, but
yeah. Well, his matches weren't that great, but his promos were scary.
I did the exact same. I work at a kitchen during the day, and I bring my iPad. And I just stick it on the wall there, and I'll watch like old Smoky Mountain Wrestling or ECW or something while I'm cooking.
Yeah, I love it, man.
Everyone I work with, they're all wrestling fans.
To me, that's the best thing about the network. I really don't watch any of the shows or I don't keep up on the new In the Ring stuff or anything. I just watch the same shit I've been watching since the 90s, stuff from when I was a kid, Superstars, and I like the documentaries on there. The Edge and Christian show is great. I think they're fucking hilarious.
They got a good podcast.
I didn't even know they had a podcast.
It was a podcast, so they brought it to WWE Network. It was a podcast.
Wow. Yeah. See, I didn't even know that. Here I am doing a wrestling podcast, and I don't know this basic information about an incredible wrestling podcast.
Yeah, fucking step your game up 6.
That is insane. Well, now I know something I can find and watch. It'll keep me entertained for quite a while. Edge and Christian are hilarious. I love their show on the network. But I guess I just get hooked on that old shit, man, and I sit and watch it for hours and hours. My girlfriend probably gets sick of it. She leaves for work. I'm watching wrestling. She comes home. I'm still watching wrestling.
Yeah. people get a little bit of like when people come over to my house or something. Hey, it's always on.
Yeah,
it's just on.
Almost exclusively. It's kind of to a point like if people are coming over, I'll turn it off just so that I don't look crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, well, and I have a tendency to watch a lot of death matches, so that gets you a lot stranger looks when you got bloodied up people smacking each other with glass and shit.
I have mixed emotions about deathmatch because
Let's talk about it.
I like it. I enjoy it. Okay. My first introduction to deathmatch was Stranglemania, the ICP Stranglemania tape. But I knew who these people were. I had seen Terry Funk and Cactus Jack, but I had never seen them like this. And once I seen that, I was like, what the hell? And I like a lot of that. Most of that's cool, and I don't think it's too far. I think it's dope. I think the two fat dudes stabbing each other with glass is a little bit too much. Yeah, and it grosses me out. It's a little bit too much.
Oh, I'm sorry. Ponderosa and Sweetenhouse.
Ponderosa and Sweetenhouse.
These two fat fucking balls of fat shit.
Oh, he's leaking lard all over the place.
Oh shit.
Yeah, that's fucking classic. But yeah, but I mean, I liked it. But that was my first introduction to deathmatch, and then of course ECW. I got super hip to that, and I'll never forget seeing ECW at the Seagate Center live, and Balls Mahoney came up in the crowd just bleeding buckets right next to us, and my cousin Rick takes his ECW flyer and just wipes it, and gets blood all over his flyer, and he's like, "Yeah."
I've actually seen people do that to our wrestlers. They're like, "Hey man, can you just take your blood and put a little?" And they're like, yeah, "I guess, yeah. I'd rather go in the back and fucking towel off, but sure."
Yeah. The whole point of this was to not bleed on you guys, but sure.
We're trying to keep this to ourselves, man. But whatever, that's your thing.
But yeah, as I think as
time went on,
shit
did that to me.
Yeah,
I got a copy of his book, and he signed it with his fucking blood. I was like, "Thanks, Pondo."
Thanks, man. I'll just put this over here.
Yeah, I skipped that first page.
Yeah, it's a little bit gross and it's a little bit unnerving, but deathmatch to me is just, I think there's a line, and I think sometimes it's too much, and when it gets to be too much, then it's not even entertaining to me anymore.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So there has to be wrestling in there.
It's very divisive,
Yeah.
And I'm not a fan of just the hack and bash.
Yeah,
is what it's called, where you just go out there and just hit each other with whatever the fuck's around.
And I think there's been some people that lean on that, that really don't have the wrestling chops, so they're like, "I'll just fucking get hit with bricks or whatever," and that's cool, but and it's for some people, I suppose. But for me, there's just I like wrestling, so when there's no wrestling left in the match, there's nothing left for me to watch.
Yeah, I mean, exactly, and that's how we try, because we do death matches in our company. We're not an exclusive
I've been
death
there,
match.
I've watched, and I enjoy thoroughly.
They don't.
Yeah. But I enjoy thoroughly. I mean, I plugged the product. I did the song for RPW, so I'm definitely not hating on death matches. I'm hating on people disguising bullshit as a death match. I think some people just label it like, we'll just hit each other with shit and call it wrestling. Well, and there's got to be some level of what would you call it? You got to tell a story.
Psychology.
Psychology. There you go.
There's always got to be a story to it. Yeah. If you're not telling a story, there's no fucking point.
Right. Absolutely.
What's to get you invested?
Right.
If there's no story being told.
And that's why I think some guys can do less but get more, if that makes sense. You know what I mean?
Less is more in this business. Yeah. A lot of the green guys that first start out, their big problem is they want to go a million miles an hour and put every move they know in, and that's boring.
Right.
Like, you get numb to it after a while. You can only watch so many flips and Canadian destroyers and all this shit.
And that's why I think that, at least for me, that's why I consider Shawn Michaels the best, is because I literally I've been watching Shawn Michaels my whole life. I just watched a Shawn Michaels match last night that I hadn't seen, and he's doing shit that I haven't seen him do.
Yeah.
And you'll always see that from him. Of course, he has his routine, you know what I mean? He's going to go to the top and drop the elbow. And
going to get that super kick in there.
Right. He's got his things that he does, or, you see him do one thing and it's coming. They all do. That's to be expected. But he always does something unexpected. Like, almost every match, there's something that he, picked up from somewhere else, and he's going to try it. And that, to me, that's what makes him dope, is he never stopped learning. He was always introducing something something new to his game.
The second you stop learning, you're done. You're done. Everybody's going to pass you by.
Yeah.
Even the best in the business always can learn.
Right.
And
what always kills me is like, all right, Hulk Hogan. I've seen Hulk Hogan matches that he did in like Japan and stuff that were so much different than what he did here, and like Hogan can go. He could. I mean, obviously, you don't get to be he's the biggest wrestler. You don't get to be that big, not having any skills. But he always gets like people like to talk bad about him, and he gets pigeonholed into doing his thing. And I understand it because if you watch the greatest matches of Hulk Hogan on WWE, you're pretty much watching the same match 16 times in a row. He's gonna fucking big boot and point at you, and
he's gonna leg drop. He's gonna listen for the crowd.
It's all in the same order, and it's the same. And like, because I watched the DVD, and after I'm like 4 matches into it, and I'm like, I don't need to watch anymore. This is fucking boring. And but it's disappointing because he's not that bad of a wrestler. He's actually pretty fucking good. And
he's just a bad person, is all.
Yeah, that's for another. We're strictly talking about wrestling here. We'll talk about Hogan another time. But it's like it's weird because to one crowd of people, he's super overrated, and to other he's super underrated. You know what I mean? It's just like who
thinks he's underrated?
Well, I wouldn't say underrated. That's a bad choice.
He's the most overrated motherfucker.
I mean his skill set.
His
skill set. I don't mean him as Hulk Hogan. I mean his ability as a wrestler. People say he's not that great. Same thing they say about Warrior, which is pretty much spot on. I've never really thought Warrior had a great match.
Warrior didn't have good matches. He was just fun to watch.
Absolutely.
Here's this human cocaine coming to the ring.
Dude, have you ever watched? I'm sure you have the Self-Destruction of Ultimate Warrior DVD.
Oh
yeah. I just bought it and revisited it last week or something. And man, they really tore him down, and some of it deservedly so. He was being an asshole and demanding money, and he's got too big for his britches at the time. But he was fucking entertaining, and they were trying to shit on his promos, you didn't. Bobby Heenan especially just like hated Warrior, and he's like his promos didn't make any sense, and it's like, but they kind of did. He was just like a crazy superhero, it's like a 7-year-old. He's just this like maniacal like superhero that's like battling with himself but still trying to do good. Like, it made perfect sense to me as a child anyways.
When I was a little kid and the first time I saw him just come running out and grab the ropes, and
right,
I was in.
Right. Yeah,
it didn't matter if he was good or not.
Right. You don't even remember. I don't know any of his matches, but I remember him running around the ring and shaking the ropes. I remember that clearly. I remember what he was wearing and his face paint, and he was just larger than life. But that's what brings me back to what we were saying earlier too, though. Is like, it's kayfabe. It was so much. I don't like how every day now is Jeff Smith versus Todd Jones. You know what I'm saying? Like, I want some Ultimate Warriors. I want some barbarians. And, it's.
We got a strong man.
I enjoy
Arthur
it.
MacArthur.
Arthur. I enjoy
great.
it, and I enjoy it thoroughly. I really do. I think that's something big that's missing from wrestling. Like, I love AEW.
Gimmicks.
Yeah, gimmicks.
Yeah.
I love AEW. Their product is spot on, but there's just too many fucking just, Bob Smith and Todd Wilsons and,
It's coming to the ring, Greg Jones.
Right. And it's like, damn, but who is Greg
Smith,
Jones?
Milwaukee.
What does he do? Is he a barber? Does, I want to... You got to give and it kills me too when people say like, oh, well, back in my day, wrestling was a lot better. It's just too goofy for me now or whatever. And I'm like, what fucking wrestling?
Have you gone back and watched the wrestling you grew up on? Because it is a lot less goofy now.
Absolutely. And the wrestling is better now. I think there's more expected of you as an entertainer.
Oh, absolutely.
To even get in the ring, like back then, you could make it all the way to WWE with no skills.
Yeah,
it's just you just had to be a guy willing to do the job and go in for it.
You had to be if you had the big body.
Yep,
and you could talk.
Absolutely.
And had a gimmick.
Absolutely.
They could throw a snake around your neck or give you a parrot.
Right. Or any other random alligator, whatever they can put you in the ring with.
You're a dentist. Go get him.
A dentist. There is a dentist now in AEW.
Yeah, well,
and that kills me. No, I hate it. There
was Dr. Isaac Yankum. It was Kane.
Isaac Yankum. And now there's, who is it? Britt Baker. Britt Baker.
But she's a legit dentist in real life.
I know. I know, and she's a legit wrestler too. She's great in the ring. I enjoy her work. It's just one of those things, like the gimmick comes on and I'm like, can't they think of anything better for her than okay, you're a dentist, but what is that? How does that translate to wrestling? You know what I mean? Like, I'm going to get in the ring and fix your cavities.
I'm going to kick your teeth out and fix them for you.
I mean, I guess that could be a thing, you know?
Yeah.
You knock somebody's teeth out, like, yeah, now come get them fixed.
They did do that match where she was jamming people with Novocaine needles and shit.
Yeah, that's wild, man. That's wild.
Just numbing them up.
But that being said, I mean, props to them for trying something like that, because it's missing. They need, you know.
Well, right now
we need Duke the Dumpster Garbage Man, and you know, and everybody can't be the fucking world champion. You know,
literally right now should be the time for experimentation in this business, because what the fuck you got to lose with you can't even run a normal show anymore.
Absolutely.
Like you got to play around and figure out what the fuck's going on, you know, anyway, to make a show even work.
I agree 100%.
Might as well play around with that too, you know.
Right.
I remember days where, you know, you'd see a Mountie wrestle a fucking, you know.
The Mountie.
Oh, I'm sorry.
He's big,
I knocked
brave,
over Roddy.
He's strong. Oh, that's all right. They fall all the time. The Mountie. That was another one. There was so many gimmicks back then that were just like,
Repo Man?
Repo Man. See, that's another one though. See, they're so fucking stupid to me now.
Pitbull number 1 and Pitbull number 2.
When I was a kid, I bought into that shit though.
Well, yeah, you're supposed to.
Right.
It was the greatest shit. Man, to this day, I still pop on Macho Man shit. I got a fucking Macho Man tattoo right here, dude. Yeah. That fucking guy, he can do it, like, you know, just watching him talk. You know, looks like he's gonna pop the entire time. You know, like his face is just
everything is so intense.
And it's like, whatever you're saying, I'm buying and I'm into it.
Right. But that's another thing I think that's missing too. That's an element that's missing too, is like that like cartoonish craziness that would come off in the promos. Now the promos are like, I'm going to be there and I'm going to fuck you up.
Scripted.
Yeah.
You know, that's why everyone talks about how great the Attitude Era was. Well, it's because they let the wrestlers do what the fuck they wanted.
Right. Yeah.
You think people were telling Stone Cold what his script was before he went out there? No.
Right.
The Rock, you think they were like, go out there and call them hermaphrodites?
Right. No.
No.
He was just a
They were probably in the back like, ooh.
Oh, I'm sure.
I hope that'll fly with the censors.
Right. I'm sure. But that's what made it great. And that's what's missing, man. They need to get back to that.
When you know your character, you can't have somebody else telling it to you.
Right.
You know?
Right. Absolutely. Because you know better.
You're basically strangling the creativity out of it, you know?
Absolutely.
You know, who knows the character better than the character?
Right. And then in that era, they were allowed to put so much more of themselves into the character. Whereas now it's just like, you're this guy and this is what you do and this is how you do it.
And in the 80s, it was like, all right, let's do this really long line of cocaine and go out there and scream at Mean Gene for a little bit.
What an exciting life to be Mean Gene, you know, just getting screamed at by people that are out of their
lathered in
mind.
Baby oil and high on cocaine. I wonder how many of those suits got ruined by them, like accidentally touching a shoulder, just leave it like a baby oil print. That's probably why I always wear black.
Yeah, I'm sure. You can see it in his face when they do that shit, man. Rest in peace, Gene, man, because he was
Mean Gene Okerlund.
Gene was incredible. Have you ever watched Legends House? Yes, he was my favorite on there, man. Great. I loved him. That's another good thing on the network too, is the Legends House.
I like the where they animate the stories too.
Story time.
Yes,
yeah. I love
those. Are pretty good
story
too.
Time. That's what it is. Yeah. Whatever it is. I love that too. That's fucking Jake the Snake is hands down the best on there. His stories are fucking great. Everyone he tells.
Well, it's interesting now that, you know, the Undertaker is finally broken kayfabe to like. Yeah. It's so fucking weird after all this time to like see him being a normal guy and telling all these stories and stuff. And you're just like,
yeah, it's almost a letdown. Like I wanted him to
almost, like I don't like
grave,
it,
man.
Honestly, I don't like it. He was like the last one really marching on with that shit, and now he's just like. It's like almost like this giant nut he busted, and now it's like he's all loose. Like, yeah, guys, Mark here. What's up?
After I watched like a 3-hour special, I'm like, I know entirely too much about Mark Calloway.
Catch me next week on Hot Ones, where I'm going to be eating chicken wings.
Right? Like, what the fuck?
It's like, why?
But man, you know what was great is I watched all that shit, and what was awesome to me is how long he did maintain kayfabe. and like he turned down movie roles and like, you know, big money shit because he didn't want to break character. Man,
I can't see him being much of a movie star though.
No, what was the one he was in with Hulk Hogan? He was like a bounty hunter in the elevator. What is it?
Was it Suburban Commando?
Suburban Commando. Undertaker is in that movie. He's like a bounty hunter looking for Hulk Hogan. That's the only movie that I know him to be in for sure.
My favorite part of any Hulk Hogan movie, and you're going to have to go back and watch it. So it's a little 30-second thing. In the beginning of Mr. Nanny, right? He's riding his motorcycle down the highway. And for some reason, and this is the most fucked up shit, after I notice it, I can't not notice it. He's riding down the highway, and in the background, there's like a park. And there's this dude who just picks his dog up and aggressively throws it in a lake. It's in the background of the fucking shot. I have no idea. Like, he just picks up this fucking dog and not just we're having fun, we're gonna swim. Like, he angrily throws like a big dog, like a golden retriever, in the lake.
Is he trying to show off for Hulk Hogan? Like, maybe he's seen Hogan coming and he was like, I'm gonna gorilla press this dog, right?
I think it was just an asshole in the park that didn't realize there was cameras rolling that wanted to be a dickhead to his dog and throw it in a lake. Now, like, the first time I fucking rewound it, I was like, there's no way I just saw that. And I rewound it, and like every time I watched it, I found it more and more fascinating. So the opening credits of Mr. Nanny.
That is
Pay attention. You can see a man aggressively throw his dog in a lake.
I will actually go back and watch that tonight because I need to see that.
It's pretty fucked up, dude.
All right, so we're going to wind it down here, and I will be back in just a moment with Chris from RPW, and we will be talking about, you guessed it, wrestling.
Back with Carnival of Kayfabe. This is 6 Digit. I'm Chris from RPW.
Yeah! Nailed it.
I'm taking over your fucking podcast, bro.
Nailed it. All right, so where were we? We were talking about
throwing dogs in lakes.
Throwing dogs in lakes.
This is why they can't give me a microphone, man. It's always going to get fucking weird if you put a microphone in front of me.
I really have to go back and watch that, though. That blows my mind.
I'll send you a clip.
That's weird how things make it into movies like that, like the dude shaking his dick in Teen Wolf. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
That's when no one ever believes me, and I'm like, oh, it's there. I'll show it to you right now. It's on cable. Like, anywhere that movie exists, it's there.
There's the Charlie the Chocolate Factory owner. The kid gets knocked out by the candy guy singing in the beginning. You ever see that one? All right, you know how the guy's singing in the beginning, and they're at the candy store, and he goes to come out from behind the counter. Well, it's one of those counters that has like the lift up.
Yeah.
There's a kid at the end, and when he goes to lift it up, his chin's over there, and he whacks the kid in the chin, and the kid just gets biffed and just kind of like, and you can tell the guy's like, just keeps going.
Singing a song.
But, you know, back then they didn't care about beating children. It was a different time, you know.
I don't think there was even any laws on that.
Yeah, you could just beat those kids willy-nilly.
That's probably how they got them all in the movie.
And it's like, we're going to take you to this candy store. All right, but we're going to beat you a little. But you candy.
You got a golden ticket.
I mean, if you really think about that movie, all it is just child torture.
Kind of is.
They're blowing children up.
That movie's actually really strange, and I don't know what's worse, that or the remake. The remake is like
it was
triple
awful.
Strange.
No, the remake was awful.
Yeah, it was.
The Johnny Depp one.
And I'm a Johnny Depp fan. I usually like most of the things he does, but he's just kind of. I feel like he's gone downhill in the last couple of years.
He's had some rough times.
Yeah. See, I don't know his times. I haven't really paid attention.
That girlfriend of his accused him of beating her, and it turned out it wasn't true, and he ended up losing movie roles for it, and then it ended up coming out that she was beating the shit out of him. And all that. Let's talk about wrestling. Did Johnny Depp ever wrestle?
We are. We're talking about Johnny Depp taking an L in his first match against his girlfriend.
he took some L's against Amanda Hurd, that's for sure. Apparently, he's got a bit of a glass jawline on that Johnny Depp.
Yeah.
I'm kidding. That was fucking awful. Please don't email me and hate me for that one.
You know what I don't... This is the only thing I don't like about Johnny Depp. I don't like that his first movie was Nightmare on Elm Street, and he doesn't ever appear in any of the things for Nightmare on Elm Street when they do the behind the scenes and talk about the film. Like, literally every fucking person...
He was one of the main characters.
Ever participated. Yeah. Literally everyone's comments, he says nothing. The only time he's ever even spoke about it was on Inside the Actors Studio, and it was like so briefly, and he kind of just like scoffed and laughed at it, like, bro, this is your first movie. This was your way into.
He's like, yeah, but 21 Jump Street. Listen, I was a heartthrob. Okay, I don't want to talk about wearing that belly shirt and getting sucked into a bed anymore.
That's what it is. That was exactly what he said. And they said, the guy on the inside that studio said, so tell us about Nightmare on Elm Street. And he goes, well, I got sucked into a bed. And that's all he had to say about it.
I was more like, I was more impressed with the Stevie Richards cut off belly button shirt he had going on.
Yeah, he was supposed to. That's funny to me that he played like the jock in that film. That was his first movie role. He was that.
I don't even know if he was supposed to be the jock or like the pretty boy.
I don't think if he knew either. Maybe that's why it comes off like that in the movie. He's kind of like
pretty ambiguous.
Yeah.
He's just, and he's because the one boyfriend was the badass, and that's the one they pinned the killings and shit on.
And what's crazy is for most, I knew Johnny Depp was in that movie, but I didn't recognize him because he looks so different. So like my whole childhood, I thought that dude was Johnny Depp because he was cool and he had a leather jacket.
No, you want to talk about another person that had a really weird first fucking movie? George Clooney's first movie was Return of the Killer Tomatoes, and he starred in it.
Really?
I remember. Awesome.
I remember the movie. Like I don't remember it, but I remember of it. I remember watching it as a child.
You should revisit. It's a lot of fun.
I didn't know George Clooney was in it. That makes me want to revisit it. He stars in
it. The sequel, Return of the Killer Tomatoes. He is the star of it, and then he went on to be the boss of season 1 of Roseanne. He was like the mean factory worker boss or some shit. Yep. How do I know all this crap?
That's, I know a lot of it too. I know a lot about Roseanne, way more than I should. I could probably do a whole fucking podcast on Roseanne too. Maybe I will. Carnival of Roseanne.
I fucking double dog dare you. It went right to the I should go right to the triple dog.
You be my first guest on there too. We're talking Roseanne.
It's kind of incredible how many people's first guests. Did
Roseanne ever do any kind of like crossover shit with wrestling that you know of?
Not that I'm aware of. Besides wrestling her own career,
she's from that era that I would have expected her to be like a guest at WrestleMania one year or something. Not that I can recall though. I don't remember her ever getting involved.
Just come out and just manage as like King Kong Bundy or something.
She could just come out and be King Kong Bundy.
I thought it was Tom Arnold. Jesus Christ.
So that's what we did here on the first episode. We just booked Roseanne into her first wrestling match with King Kong Bundy.
Who do you think it'd go over on that one?
Oh,
if you booked it.
If I booked it?
Yeah. What would the finish be?
The finish, this depends if anyone else could be involved. Like if Tom Arnold's
anything
there,
you want.
Okay, then that's my finish.
The world's your fucking oyster.
My finish is King Kong Bunny's got it in the bag, but Tom Arnold comes out unexpectedly, for the save, and he helps Roseanne out, which you wouldn't expect.
The steel chair or something?
Yeah,
all right.
Steel chair would be good. I think Tom Arnold could swing a steel chair.
All right, mine would be
even better though. I just creatively wrote this as I said that. He ducks and the chair hits Roseanne. Now Tom and Roseanne got something to handle.
All right. I got one. King Kong Bundy's really working her. He's giving it to her. He's about to give her the 1, 2, 3. Then the nerdy kid that's banging his daughter, Darcy, that's from the Big Bang Theory, comes out, lays him out with a chair, professes his love. He's been having an affair with the mom the whole time. Boom, swerve.
Ooh. Big swerve.
Gets on his knee. Throws out the ring.
And this is big business because he lives in the basement, right?
And then here comes John Goodman with Vader not having it. He's like, nah, man, I'm clapping them cheeks. You ain't taking my girl, dude.
John Goodman, he's another one that probably could have did something cool in his prime if he would have got involved.
Everything John Goodman does is awesome.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
That guy's 16 shades of awesome.
Who's someone that's like, what's someone that got involved in wrestling that was just like completely shit the bed and should have never happened besides RoboCop?
Jon Stewart.
Jon Stewart. What did he do? I must have missed this.
When Cena was going to break Flair's record, Stewart jumped the guardrail and cost him it with a chair or something. You remember that?
I remember Jon Stewart being involved in some capacity because I remember him on The Daily Show, like cutting a promo on The Daily Show. That's all I remember.
Or when Colin Jost and Michael Shea from Saturday Night Live got involved in the one WrestleMania.
Yeah.
Who else? RoboCop, obviously.
The RoboCop thing was pretty hideous.
David Arquette. But to his if you watch that documentary, I give him a lot of love. And
I was gonna say, to his credit, he's quite made up for his boo boo on wrestling history. He's takes the business pretty fucking seriously.
I will say, and I have actually seen him wrestle on the indies too. I watched live that match where he got his neck all sliced open by Nick Gage and shit.
Yeah,
that was pretty wild. But I watched the documentary. It's called "You Can't Kill David Arquette," and the level he took it and how serious he took it and how far he went for it impressed me, and I have respect for the man now.
Yeah, absolutely. I would absolutely agree. He wasn't just some Hollywood celebrity trying to get in.
He paid his dues.
And,
they had him wrestling at traffic stops in Mexico.
Yeah,
legit.
And he loves the business, man. So I'll give him that. You know what I mean? He could be doing any stupid thing, go sign Scream autographs at a convention or whatever. He wants to wrestle. So, I mean, props to him. The WCW thing was fucking ridiculous. I didn't think it made much sense at the time. And putting the belt on him was clearly not the best move ever. But I think he would probably agree with that, too. It's not like it was his call. It's not like he said, I'll do it, but give me the belt, He
hasn't been able to live it down since. I think that's what a lot of this was due to. And, the Vampiro one just came out. That one was really good.
I haven't got a chance to watch that one
yet.
It's
on Amazon Prime.
Yeah, nice. I think I'll probably watch that tonight. I haven't got a chance to watch that yet.
It's one of the better ones.
Yeah. I've always been a fan of Vampiro, so I definitely look forward to seeing that. Well, I think we are winding down now. I think that makes sense this time when I say it. Getting to the end of the episode here. This has been an incredible first episode. I've enjoyed sitting here bullshitting about wrestling with you. Is there anything else you want to talk about before we go off the air, or anything you want to plug? I know we have Slamdemic coming up. If you want to tell people where they can find that.
Yeah, coming up, I don't know when this is going to post, but within a couple weeks from now, we're going to film Slamdemic. It's going to be our first studio show. We have an insanely stacked card. It's going to be a very, very, very good show.
I wanted to ask you a question about that too. Is that something I can attend? Is that something I can come watch in person?
We'll talk off air.
Okay, cool. Sounds good.
But yeah, so Slamdemic will be coming up on IWTV pretty soon. Check us out on all the social media. Keep up with what we're doing. Keep a lookout for Mr. Six Digits music video for Ruthless, which is going to be our theme song, and there'll be a music video accompanying it with a lot of great footage from our matches.
Oh yeah.
Aside from that, yeah.
And I will be, if you follow the podcast, I'll be posting everything about RPW. So any events or anything they have coming up, I'll keep you in the loop with that too. And I just want to thank everybody for tuning in and checking us out on the first episode of Carnival of Kayfabe. And I'll see you next time.